Hello, my name is Monica Sandoval Johnson, and I'm co-director at STEM Boomerang. And today we're talking to leaders of the space industries of New Mexico to learn more about their hiring needs. These videos are brought in collaboration with New Space New Mexico, a local organization that aims to increase the space industries of New Mexico as well. You can learn more about their organization on their website at NewSpaceNM.org. And today it's my pleasure to be talking with Conrad Poelman, CEO of Stellar Sciences. Hi, Conrad. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, Monica. How are you?
Great, thank you. So briefly tell us about your company.
Well, so Stellar Science combines software expertise with knowledge in a lot of different scientific domains. We work in fields. We actually started doing space situational awareness. That's one of our first sort of foundational technologies. We've expanded now. We do a lot of computer vision work where we're like building three-dimensional models of objects based on video sequences. We do directed energy modeling and simulation. We do some human physiology modeling, where we model how the body reacts in various scenarios. I mentioned space situational awareness. That's kind of our oldest area. So we're working with the Air Force and NASA, maybe someday soon the Space Force, to track all the objects in space, figuring out where they are, whether they're pieces of debris or active satellites, or if there are satellites that are experiencing some sort of problems or anomalies. We also write software to do sort of what if modeling and simulation, where somebody says say the Air Force wants to build another sensor, that can say, what if I built a new telescope out here or built a bigger telescope? How would that help us in terms of maintaining our catalog of space objects? And actually, another area we got into recently is space weather. And space, if you're not familiar with space weather, it's basically you have electromagnetic fields in space and these charged particles that come, especially if there's an event like a solar flare, where all these charged particles will come and interact with the spacecraft. And then that will sometimes it upsets the electronics on board, and so you need to build rad-hard electronics and that sort of thing. So we're doing modeling and simulation to help better understand sort of space weather phenomena.
Exciting. That's really interesting stuff. So can you tell us more about your workforce? About how many current employees do you have?
Right now, we're just under 100 people. I tell people we're actually happy at that size. We don't really have a goal of growth, but growth seems to be what happens when you keep satisfying your customers, doing a good job for them. They come back and keep wanting more. So we are, currently hiring. Oh, also I forgot to say, we're based in New Mexico, and most of our workforce is in New Mexico. But we also have a few locations around the country, or places with a handful of individuals working remotely.
Great. So we know that it's unstable hiring times due to the COVID pandemic. Can you tell us more about positions that you may be currently hiring for or looking to hire in the coming months?
Sure. I mean, I tell people we're always looking to hire top sort of scientific software developers. So we keep ads up pretty much constantly. Our ideal candidates have experience in sort of some modern programming languages like C++ or Java. We do some stuff in Python or JavaScript as well, but also have a good, strong scientific background. So, you could be doing anything from writing code to solve equations, or writing a graphical user interface, or figuring out how to display and visualize, large amounts of, three-dimensional data. When our company started, it's been about 20 years now, we didn't even have an office. So everybody was working from home. And so we were really well situated for work from home. So when the coronavirus outbreak started, we just told everybody, unless you really need to be at the office, work from home. And that was even before the shutdown order and everything like that. Now, technically, we're exempt from the shutdown order because as a government contractor supporting the labs like Sandia Labs and the Air Force Research Lab, we're able to stay open. But our office is, there are typically fewer than 5 people at the office, and it's pretty deserted, and pretty much everybody's working from home.
Great. Shows how adaptable your organization is to this. Great. Could you maybe describe some non-negotiable skill sets that you look for in qualified candidates?
Well, we sometimes sum up what we're looking for as, we're looking for people who are smart and get things done. That's not very specific, but I guess that's non-negotiable. But our workforce is actually about 1/3 bachelor's, 1/3 master's, and about 1/3 PhDs. So it's a pretty highly educated. But even that's not non-negotiable, because we found a couple people who don't have a bachelor's degree, but have picked up the right skills for scientific software development. So I guess that's negotiable. Even the programming languages I mentioned, like C++ and Java, we've hired a few people who didn't have experience in those languages, but if if they show a real willingness to adapt to sort of modern coding practices, revision control and writing tests and making sort of modular, extensible, reusable software, then we can take the time to sort of train them. I guess another thing that's non-negotiable is being sort of self-motivated and self-directed. We don't like to micromanage people, so we need people who are basically can take a task and run with it. But that also involves knowing when you need help. So like you need to sort of have some amount of self-discipline to reach out and say, hey, I've been stuck on this for a few days, and find somebody to help you. I think I forgot to mention internships too, that we are currently offering internships. Our qualifications for internships are pretty much, we're looking for the same things we look for in full-time candidates. Just obviously we don't expect them to have as much experience, but we take our interns and we just put them on our regular project teams working on some of these same scientific software projects. So they don't have to be tied to like a semester schedule. You can really apply for an internship anytime.
Great, thank you. So Conrad, what do you love about your organization operating in New Mexico?
Well, I mentioned the highly educated workforce. So, New Mexico actually does have a high a fraction of population with masters and PhDs, so that's great. I just love New Mexico for the weather, the 300 days of sunshine, while still having 4 seasons. We got snow recently, which is kind of nice. I like the fact that Albuquerque is a big enough city to, have everything you need, but you can still, live close to the office if that's important to you. Well, obviously right now, I guess it doesn't really matter where you live, but in terms of, having short commutes and stuff, it's affordable. I don't know, green chili.
Oh yeah, we love our green chili. So Conrad, can you tell me how Stellar Sciences is going to change the world?
Well, I guess one thing I've learned over time is that very few people change the world by themselves. It really takes a team. And so we have this phrase, I think it's on our website, advancing science through outstanding software. And so really we're writing software that helps scientists advance the frontiers of science in a lot of different fields. I mentioned, human physiology modeling, space situational awareness, space weather, directed energy, those sorts of fields. But also we have another project that we started, actually it's been going for a couple of years now, doing metamaterials modeling with Sandia Labs and DARPA. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with metamaterials, but it's basically these nanometer size structures on the surface of an object that are sort of artificially engineered. And people think of light as behaving like a little ball that bounces off of the surface, but at those scales, it's an electromagnetic wave that like charges up currents on the surface and re-radiates it. And if you design those things properly, you can get all kinds of weird, interesting behaviors. But the problem is nobody actually knows how to design those structures to get the behaviors that they want. So we're actually writing software that'll do that. And that's really going to revolutionize the field of optics, really. Anybody who's building a sensor, and in space, size, weight, and power are really important constraints. So if you're building a sensor in space, the heaviest things are like glass. They're also very fragile, right? If you're launching something into space, you have to worry about the stresses breaking those glass mirrors and lenses. And so if you can replace all that with flat silicon with microstructures or nanoscale structures, you can really make much more capable sensors. And so I think that's really going to revolutionize or change the world. In fact, it's not just spacecraft. It'll be applicable to drones and UAVs, and at some point I think this technology is going to work its way into every cell phone camera. And in fact, last year we won an R&D 100 award. That's an award that's given out to like the top 100 technological innovations across the country. And it was Stellar Science and Sandia Labs working together to develop this technology. And I think their criteria are it has to be something that is a technology disruptor that's going to make the world a better place in years to come. So I was really proud of us winning that award.
That's really exciting. Thank you for sharing all this really great information. More of this video will be posted on our website at stemboomerang.org, and we'll link information to you and to your website and to your technologies so that event attendees and STEM professionals can find that. So again, thank you, Conrad.